Welcome, Sketchware developers. Today, I'm going to teach you guys how to set up Firebase and send some data to your Firebase database and receive it all in one short, long video. I say short, long because it's about 17 minutes. So let's level up our coding knowledge even more in 2024. Droidly Codes. Welcome, inspiring Android developers that use Sketchware Pro. Today, we're going to learn how to use and set up Firebase from the beginning using a brand new application, setting it up to make sure that we can send data to and from the database and continue forth from there. This is the very first episode of this playlist where we set up Firebase, get to know how to use it, and use things like storage, use things like authentication, and set up a neat little chat application that we can use two different devices and talk to each other via chat application. You'll learn fundamentals like using lists, using custom views for lists, and basically allowing us to upload images to share with our friends. If you want to create a cool little chat application that only you and your friends know about, that you can send videos and pictures with and other, chat, I guess. So this is what we're going to do today. We're going to start with by setting up an actual application. If you don't know what Sketchware is a tool to create applications and or games in the palm of your hands using your actual Android device. And you can upload them to the Google Play Store if you want to maybe make some money if you want to on the side, or just do it just because. So let's create our very first project. So click the new project icon in the bottom right. My name is MisterDNEH. I will be your teacher for the remainder of this playlist and on this channel. So welcome to Droidly Codes. This is a new channel that I rebranded from an old channel. I deleted all the old videos. I will not be doing that again because I regretted deleting all those videos. And this is the very first playlist for this channel. And if you want me to continue forth with doing all this, don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to like this video. And if you want to become a Patreon member or a member on the channel, that will help the channel grow. Now, members aren't active, but you can become a Patreon as of right now to help the channel as well, as my Patreon is linked to two different channels, this one and my gaming one, DNEH I'll Gaming. So let's start by creating our application called Firebase Toot 5. I'm going to name it Firebase Toot 5 just because. Now we have to remember what our package name is. This is very important and very vital. So I'm going to name my package name MisterDNEH .ca. Now you can do .com, whatever you want to do. FB Toot 5. Okay. So I'm going to grab this and I'm going to highlight it and click copy. If you don't know how to do that, just drag and drop over top of the actual words and then click the copy icon. That should pop up on your screen. The next thing we're going to do is go Firebase Toot 5 is my package name. And I'm going to do 5. Actually, I'm going to do 6 because I don't know if I have another package name like that. Package name is going to be Toot 6. So Firebase Toot 6, and that is my project name. Now you can change the colors and all that stuff, but I'm not worrying about that right now. Click New Project, and we're going to do some pre-configuration. I like to click on the settings icon on the bottom right-hand side, go to Build Settings. And I like to change the Dexer to D8, which is, you're going to need to do that no matter what to assign an AAB file. You're going to change the Java version to 1.8. If you want to change it to 11, you can, but I'm going to leave it at 1.8. Click Save. I'm going to go back, click Save and Exit. Now I'm going to click this little drop-down arrow right here, click Config. Minimum SDK, I'm going to make it to 26. To let you know, this is the minimum of the SDK versions for this Sketchware as well. The maximum as of today, which is Android 14, which is 34, that is only needed if you plan on uploading this to the Google Play Store. If you don't plan on uploading it to the Google Play Store, you can do Target SDK 32 or whatever if you want, but I highly recommend you to do 34 so that it coincides with today's devices, because today's devices are on Android 14 and it should work. So let's click Save. Now we're going to go back into our project. And we're going to just do a quick run so that the application installs on our device. And the reason for that is just to make sure everything's working the way it's supposed to before we start messing around with any of the configurations that we're going to be doing. So open, and there you go. You created your first application. If you've never done anything like this before, this is your very first application. Now it doesn't do anything, but we will do some stuff in a few minutes. Now the next thing you're going to do is close that out. You're going to go to your web browser. Now, if you don't have Sketchware Pro, this is the link for the Sketchware Pro. I'll put in a link in the description below. The one that we're using today is the APK Minimum API 26 Debug Nightly version, because the nightly version works really, really well, and they did do a huge update to it recently, and it looks super nice. So now we're going to go open up a new tab. I'm going to type in Firebase console. So Firebase console, just like so. And I'm going to go down to where it says Firebase console right here. And it should open up a whole bunch of different projects. If you don't have any projects yet, like I do, then there will just be a button that says create a project, which is what we're going to be doing. So let's click on create a project. Let's give it a name. I'm going to name it FB Toot Sticks. Okay, so not Facebook, it's Firebase. And I'm going to click continue. Next thing I'm going to do is click continue again. Now I'm going to select my account, default account for Firebase, and click create a project. Now give it a second to load, because it's going to load some stuff to get this prepped and ready to go for us to actually configure this inside of our Sketchware application. Now that that's done, if you made it this far into the guide, take note, I am not sharing this project with anybody. Unless you are a Patreon member, I will share it with Patreon members, and I will share it with members over on my DNA Mobile Gaming channel. If you are a member over there, then I will share it there as well. Otherwise, become a Patreon member, help to support the channel, help it grow. But I'm not doing videos for the sake of you asking me where is the SWB file. I am not sharing SWB files. However, I will share custom blocks at some cases if we need those, and I will tell you about that when we get to it during those videos. Otherwise, support the channel by becoming a Patreon member, and you can download the files from Patreon. So the next thing you're going to do is you're going to go to the Android icon right here and click on it. Now we have to take note of that package name that we created earlier and paste it in there, which is MisterDNEH.ca.fp25. Again, do not change that package name, because if you mess around with the package name, then your Firebase will not work properly. Now I'm going to name this FB5 just like so, and click register this app. So let's just wait for that to register. Okay, now we're going to just go down to the bottom. We're not going to download anything. We're going to click next. We're going to go Groovy, build Gradle. That's fine. Go next again. Go down to where it says continue to console. And now we are in our Firebase console. Very first thing we need to do is click the three lines at the top left-hand corner. We're going to go to build. We're going to go to authentication. Now we're going to wait for it to load and click on get started. Now we're going to go to our three lines again. We're going to go to build. We're going to go down to where it says real-time database. We're going to click on get started when it pops up. So create database right here. Click next after you've selected your actual region. Mine is US Central. If you're in the Europe region, then click Europe. If you're in the Asia Southeast, click Asia Southeast and click next. Now, this is very important. We're going to start in test mode. The reason why we're starting in test mode is because nobody knows about our database yet, and we are going to be able to send and receive data to our database just like so. So click enable, and now our database is created. Now we're going to click the three lines again. We're going to go down to build, and we're going to go down to storage. Now, this is an entire playlist. Like I said, we're going to learn about authentication, we're going to learn about database, and we're going to learn about storage, but I thought it would be more fun to start with database just because we'll be able to see data being sent to the database, and we'll be able to see the data being received from the database all in one go, right from the hop. It's very easy to do. We can send it and receive it and see it in action right to the internet. Of course, this is an internet-based application, so we need to have internet access, right? So click get started, click start in test mode, go down to next, click US Central again, click done. Now, for some reason, sometimes the creating default bucket bugs out, but just give it some time to actually load. If it doesn't load right away, it could be just that Firebase is down or there's issues with it, but just give it some time to load the default bucket because it's rendering some setup in the background on Firebase's console. As you see, an unknown error occurred. Refresh the page and try again. You cannot change it later. So again, mine is US Central multi-region. So I'm going to refresh this page, get started, start in test mode. Now these test modes, we can change this later. It doesn't matter. And we're going to try this again, click done and see if it actually works this time. And there it goes. So now we have our Firebase configured. Now we can click the three lines at the top, click the settings icon, click project settings. Click the settings icon, click project settings. Now a little page is going to pop up, so click the back button and you'll see a whole bunch of different stuff in here. You're going to be looking for that Google JSON script again because we didn't download it earlier, and you're going to click on it right here. Now it's going to download. File has been downloaded successfully, and we're going to go back into Sketchware. Click the 3 lines, click the library, app compat and design, and click enabled. Now we're going to go down to Firebase, and we're going to do the same thing after we import that new Google JSON service. So let's click on that, go to downloads, click on this, click select. There we go. For some reason my pen just acts up. I'm using a Samsung S24 Ultra. Make sure you check this on and then click back. Click back again, click save to make sure that that file saves properly. Click run and then wait for the application to run. I like to do runs every once in a while after I've set something up, just to make sure that nothing's broken and nothing's bugged out on the application, because sometimes that does happen. That means that you just have to close down Sketchware completely and then go back into it again. Click update. Now we're good to go. Let's click done. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to go to component. You're going to click the plus icon. You're going to look for the icon that says Firebase. So let's scroll and look for Firebase database right here, which is right there. We're going to name this database JimJam. Okay, we're going to name the database JimJam, and we're going to enter the database location as JimJam as well. So JimJam is our database location. Click add. Now we're just, I don't know why my authenticator thinks that needs to happen. We're going to select from the drop down. We're going to go to on child added. This means that if a piece of data is added to the database, we're going to do something in here. That is going to run and run and run and keep checking while you are adding stuff to the database. Now, when on child changed happens, this is always going to run. This is going to keep running and running and running, looking to see if something has changed in the database, and it's going to load. Same thing with on child removed. So if something has been removed from the database, this is going to run and run and run depending on the child key, and I will explain that in the next video. If something has been removed, and it's going to load into a list or load into a text or whatever the case may be. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to do some simple setup with our XML layout. So we're going to grab a linear layout like this, which is our vertical layout. You'll match parent. We're going to grab a text view, put it up here. We're going to grab a button. So we're going to look for a button. Where's the button? Button. Where are you, button? Sometimes I get confused because of new layout. They did a new design. Button. There's the button right there. Okay. So let's rename this button send data. Send data, just like so. Okay. So send data, send data. There we go. Now we're going to go inside of our button. So we're going to go to our view section here, go send data. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to navigate to our little puzzle icon on the right hand side. We're going to go down to component. We're going to scroll all the way down until we see Firebase as our component. So there it is right there. We're going to put that up here. We're going to select from the drop down menu where it says Firebase DB, JimJam. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to navigate to variable. We're going to add a variable called map. So this is going to be a hash map variable called map data, just like so. And what we're going to do with this is we're going to go down to where it says map input values. So we're going to grab this first block. We're going to put key. So map data put key, just like so. And we're going to make sure that we clear that map data after we're done with it and put it underneath the other Firebase block. So what this is we're going to be creating a child key here. So a child key is this one right here. So let's say I have a username, for example, called MisterDNEH. That is going to be my child key. All the information within that child key is going to be located underneath of a structure of our JSON file that is going to be sent to the database based off of the data that we send to it. So we can add another key here if we wanted to, for example. So let's go here and go put key. So let's go username. So now I'm going to let you know one thing. The more letters that you put in the beginning of a key, the more data is consumed. So you don't want to use things like username. So U for username, for example, is good. And my age, so A for age. So I'm going to go username is MisterDNEH. My age is 75. Okay. Now we're going to make sure that that value is based off of that map data value. And then when we add that data to our database, where are we going to go? We're going to go to child added, and we're going to do something in here. So what we're going to do is we're going to go and grab our view, which is down in the middle of our little puzzle icon. We're going to go to text view, go text view 1. And what we're going to do from there is we're going to check something when we add that data. So we're going to go if. We're going to do an if statement. If child key, we're going to go to our operator blocks. Child key equals MisterDNEH, which is our username. Just like so. Make sure there's no spaces. Then we're going to grab some data from that database. So this map value right here, we're going to grab a piece of data based off of a key value, which is our age. So we're going to grab our age from our username, MisterDNEH. I'm going to show you this structure in a few seconds. It's going to be a magical thing. You'll love it. It's going to be get key A. And the reason why we're getting that key to this text view is just because we're just doing a quick little check to see if the database is working the way it's supposed to. And we're sending data to it for the very first time. We're not changing it or anything. We're just sending it and then checking when it gets added and loading it into a text view like we did here. Now, when we send data, again, we're sending the username and the age to our key, which is this one right here, which is our child, to add data to it. So now we're going to save this. We're going to run it. So on the bottom side of my screen, you can see my application running right here. So there's my application, there's my database at the top. I'm going to click send data. And there you go. You can see the data has been sent to the database. And because it says that my key value of my database, which is my database's name is Jim Jam, my key value, which is this one right here for MisterDNEH, has received the information 75. Now, there's more to this. I'm going to tell you everything to do with this in the database guide. That'll be in the next video. And then after that, we will work with storage. So I know that was a long first video. It taught you how to send data to the database, receive it in your application, and see that the data has been saved. Now, when I keep clicking the send button, it's not going to do anything, or it's not going to refresh anything because I haven't changed anything in the database. Now that we've configured our database, we've confirmed that the data is being sent to our database, you can jump over to the next video if you want to learn more about your database and changing data, removing data, adding different data for different users, and so on and so forth. And also changing the database location if you want to. So maybe you want all your chat information in one folder and you want all your usernames in another folder. That is something that I'm going to teach you in the next guide. Thank you for learning with me, MisterDNEH with Droidly Codes. Don't forget to subscribe. Again, signing off. See you next time.